In this video, we're going to talk about the golden ratio, what it is, how it's used in art, and I'm going to attempt to do a t-shirt design using the golden ratio. Let's go. Thanks for joining me on this video. My name is Juna with Detour Shirts. I've been designing and selling t-shirts online since 2005, and in this video, I'm going to do something new. I'm going to try and design a t-shirt using the golden ratio. So if you're like me and you go on YouTube a lot, you see different videos, and one that popped up for me because I look at design so much is the golden ratio. So I saw this video right here. I'm going to put a link right there. It actually tells you what the golden ratio is and how to make one, how to make that spiral. You see it all the time on videos. I'm not going to make one myself. I'm actually going to just take one from the internet. I'm going to go to Google, look up golden ratio, kind of cheat that way. But if you watch that video, it shows you how you can make your own, and you could do it in Affinity Designer. In fact, we're going to use Affinity Designer to create my t-shirt design. Now, the golden ratio kind of helps you with placement, and we're not going to follow all the curves and stuff. The golden ratio actually is just a mathematical expression in art. So if you look at that video, it's kind of like the Fibonacci sequence, but with blocks and circles and spirals and things like that. So what we're gonna do right now is go into Affinity Designer, look at some of the artwork first, kind of ancient artwork and modern artwork with the golden spiral overlaid over so you can see how it works in modern art. And also on t-shirts, I'm going to show you some examples on t-shirts that I found with the golden spiral, and then we're going to try and build something using some of the golden spiral overlays just for positioning and stuff, and see what kind of design that comes out of that. So let's get into Affinity Designer right now. So here we are in Affinity Designer. You can see I just took the golden spiral. I didn't build it. It's just a PNG, transparent PNG, so I can overlay it. And so this is called the golden spiral, and inspired by the golden ratio. You may have seen this. A lot of times they use it interchangeably. When people talk about the golden ratio, you see this thing right here. And if you've seen those videos or haven't, you might have seen this in art. So you can see the golden spiral is in everything, a lot of it in nature, but sometimes in art as well. So you can see the Mona Lisa here, kind of where the eyes are and the nose, and just everything's in proportion, right? Kind of, it's pleasing to the eye, and that's why it works. So if we go to like this right here in architecture, you can see the lines here kind of inspire where things should be, and pretty interesting how that all works out. In art like this, of course, it looks like a wave, so of course the wave makes sense here, has that golden spiral. One more in modern art, Sonic the Hedgehog. Check this out. I didn't even know this was a thing. Look how his head is actually like the golden ratio. Isn't that crazy? So I'm like, does this apply to t-shirt design? T-shirt design is design, it's modern art. Can I see the golden ratio used in t-shirt design? What I found was pretty incredible. So check this out. This is just a t-shirt that I like on Merch by Amazon. Look at this. They probably did this without even knowing it, but I love the design of this shirt. And look at that. The lines intersect with this right here. The curve, look at the toe and where it curves right here. But watch what happens when I turn it the other way. So let's flip it and go this way and move this here to the edge. Look at that. It kind of just follows that as well. Toe and everything. Isn't that interesting? So sometimes it just works without you knowing it. Now, you don't have to follow that line, but you can see it intersects here. That curve intersects here. These lines intersect there and just kind of works. The leg right here is on that line. Isn't that crazy? Okay, here's another one. Cinco de Mayo, right, coming up. Look at this. This person didn't know they probably didn't overlay the golden ratio, but look at this. The line intersects here, intersects there, comes up here. This is where it kind of intersects. Look, the flower is right there on the line. This kind of comes down on the curve. Look at the curvature of this flower. Isn't that crazy? Watch this. We're going to turn it this way now and kind of move it towards here. Look at the curve of the hat. and touches there, and it kind of just, you know, ends there. Now, it may be coincidence, but it definitely helps, you know, with the line. See, look at that. It's pleasing to the eye, right? Lastly, this is one of mine, Moab. I didn't put an overlay on the golden ratio over my designs, but you can see, look at that, the arc right here. This is kind of where it ends. The sun kind of touches right here, and you can see the lines just all work. And the B, I had no idea. It just ends right there. I just felt it looked natural there. And what's interesting is if I flip this one too, and kind of move it to where it edges, where this touches here, that's where the M begins. Isn't that interesting? So I'm sure all these designs were unintentional. They didn't overlay a golden spiral over it, but we're gonna try and do it the opposite way. We're gonna try and design something using the golden spiral. So let's go in here. Here's our golden spiral. Let's see if we can do anything with it. So I'm gonna start with drawing some triangles. Let's just do some triangles here. So of course you could draw things out, but I'm going to try and make it really simple using the shapes that we already have in Affinity Designer. So if I'm following the golden ratio, I would want a triangle, you know, maybe like this and like this, maybe out to the edge. That could be something. Maybe the next triangle is up like this. You know. See, using it as a guide. And then maybe my next triangle, which is out this way. And cool. That could help. So you can see it's over. I'm going to put this on top, in fact, so we can see it, how it interacts, but I'm going to lock it down. All right. Cool. Now, yeah, this could work. Now let's put a circle. One thing we could use with the golden ratio or the golden spiral is use some of this shape. So I'm going to do a circle the size of this right here. Make it yellow or whatever. And then where do we put it? Well, we can put it right there on that line. Isn't that cool? All right, let's see. Let's make a tree. I'm going to do triangles with trees. So 2, 3, something like that. And let's see. Maybe we make it, why don't we make it touch these lines? All right. And then maybe a rectangle here. Now again, we're just using it for guidelines. It doesn't have to follow all the curves. We're just using it as guides. You notice on a lot of those, none of those had the curve. I mean, the dinosaur kind of had a curve, but it doesn't have to, right? And for a tree, I want each one to be a little bigger. So let's do this. Maybe we do that, like that. Oh, this is cool. We can use those two touching. Let's see. So these should all be holding down Shift. I'm gonna make it like that. And this will have to be there too. That's cool. It doesn't have to touch, but we can see the tree works there. I think this should be a little smaller than something like that. Oh, there. It's a tree. Now we can turn these on and off. So that's, of course. So there's my tree. Isn't that cool? So you can see it is using elements of the golden ratio. Let's see, what else could we do on here? Let's move this back to the top, actually. All right, so now that the golden spiral is on top, one thing I'm gonna do, let's do a circle. Let's try something out here. What if we did the circle? Here you can kind of see it helps. Let me make it bigger. Let's put this in the back. That's kind of neat. I'm gonna take all of this. Let's make the circle a different color so we can see it. All right. We're not doing color right now. We're just doing shapes. So let's take that. I'm gonna move, what if we did this smaller? Yeah, that kind of helps. I know we're going outside of the lines now, but we made it with the lines and now we just shrunk it down. So I think that's still fine. If we shrink down this, you'll see that it's still there. Next thing we're gonna do is add words. So let's do something like that's kind of cool. Mountains, let's do, I love veneer, so let's just do veneer. So one thing about the golden spiral is it kind of comes in like this. So let's make this just as wide, but the next one kind of comes in. So let's try this. The mountains are calling. That's too big, so let's it's kind of follow this curve, so it kind of comes in, kind of curving in like that, right? Calling. I must go. So you can see here this if we move this here, let's unlock it. If we move this here, we're trying to follow that, right? So maybe a little smaller. This one is just a little smaller. Let's try that again. There, that works, yeah. So let's move that to center again too. All right, this is working out. The mountains are calling and I must go. Let's use some shapes here. I'm gonna do a rectangle, but with this size. You see what I'm doing? I'm just using it as guides. So we could do this size too, this rectangle. Yeah, that works. So let's put that here and let's butt it up against that right there, and good. And we could do, maybe use that line right there, but I feel like that's too far. But, maybe we do that space. So this is lining up with that line right here, and maybe we use that little space. There's always like spatial things that we can use. So you see what I'm doing here? It's not exact, but you can see. Let's use that as a guide. And then this little space here, see what that is. That's kind of right, so let's move all of these up just a little bit. There, and so we'll just use that same space in everything here. Whoops. Just for spacing. So you don't have to just use the spiral, but it does help to use kind of the spacing and things like that. So there you go. Let's move these things out. I'm gonna color these just black for now. Of course, you can go in there. I'll turn this off, this golden ratio. Let's make sure we put it above everything first. There we go. And then I'll turn it off here. You can see the mountains are calling and I must go. Of course, we can make this different colors. Let's do this black and do this green. Well, let's group that actually and do it green. Now, of course, the golden ratio doesn't tell you what colors to use, but we're just gonna play around with this here. Cool, so there's a design using the golden ratio. Let's turn that back on again. You can see how it kind of connects and everything. And if we move this around, you can see it does that. And if we move this down here and make it bigger, you see that works on this this level too, right? How we made that. So have fun with that. I wouldn't suggest every design to use the golden ratio, but I would make your design first and then overlay the golden ratio and maybe be able to move stuff around. Like if that is better there because of the golden ratio or here because of the golden ratio, then you know that kind of works. But you can see this is a nice pleasing design. We use kind of the elements of the golden ratio. I'm going to color it up and put it on a t-shirt and see how well it does. So that is it for this video. Hopefully it was really helpful for you. Like I said in the video, you don't have to use the golden ratio for every single design, but I think it would help at the end when you finish your design to put it over the top to kind of see if everything aligns right. Now it doesn't have to have a curve like you saw. I didn't put the words in a curve or draw a line with the curve, but they're just ways to kind of measure, just have the right feeling, the right measurement, the right spacing and things like that, positioning and things like that. So you saw on the t-shirt examples that I showed you before, not all of them had that curve in it, right? So, but it did have the elements and it did touch in some of those places on the lines and things. So use them as guides, but don't use it as actual ways to draw stuff. So I think that's one way you can use it. So it's pleasing to the eye with the golden ratio, so the spacing and things like that. So hopefully that makes sense with the golden ratio. If this was really helpful for you, or if you want me to do another one, make sure to give it a thumbs up. It really helps in the algorithm. And if you're not subscribed to this channel already, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I do a lot more design stuff, not just with the golden ratio, but other things, other t-shirt designs. And my question of the day is this: have you heard of the golden ratio before, the golden spiral? Let me know about that in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it and how this worked out. And thanks again for watching. And if you want to see other design tutorials, click on these videos right here. And as always, guys, keep creating and keep learning. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.